Jack Johnson, our old friend, signed a professional tryout agreement with the Wild a week ago today. And if that doesn't strike you as being big news, that's going to be my point here today. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. There's a definitive list of player news and transactions that appears on the excellent website Puckpedia. And when I say excellent, I'm referring mostly to their contract information stuff. Remarkably detailed. The reason I share that is that for the month of August, and today is the 18th, there are 3 listings under their news/transactions banner. The most recent was the one that I just read you about, Jack. Before that, it was Hampus Lindholm telling the Boston Globe that his kneecap's going to be all healed for the start of the Bruins training camp. Before that, it was that Jesse Nurmi, whoever that even is expected to spend all of the coming season with Bridgeport of the AHL, the Islanders minor league affiliate. This is my way of saying that nothing is going on. The actual transaction was the trade between the Maple Leafs and Canucks that sent Dakota Joshua to Toronto for a 4th-round pick. That was on July 17th, a month ago. I'm not going to sit here and say that Kyle Dubas is all done. I don't believe that he is. I don't believe that he should be. But as I go back through that same transactions list to last August and to last September, what I see here, without exception, not for the Penguins, but for the entire NHL, are professional tryout agreements, lots and lots and lots of PTOs, and then once training camp starts, it's waivers this, waivers that. In other words, it's not just the Penguins who are done, or for the most part done. It's everybody. It's the entire industry. When the calendar flips to August, you basically know who you've got, and you know who you're going to have on opening night. Not of camp, not of the preseason, opening night of the regular season. Now, you and I might not take that too seriously because nothing prevents anybody, obviously, from making a move, even a major move. But I can share with you that executives in the sport very much operate within the vibe of everything that's happening around them. And I'm going to give you an example. And it's the most common example that, well, at least that I've cited all summer long, and that's Erik Karlsson. If you were going to see the Penguins move Karlsson, then you'd have seen it in June and July. You would have seen it between the awarding of the Stanley Cup and then at some point during July, whenever the free agency market moves all kinds of pieces in all kinds of different directions. And that goes double for something of the scope of moving Brian Rust and or Rickard Rakell. Those would have happened. All of that would have happened. I still get the sense, especially from those cynics who feel like you have to give up every single thing you have on your roster in order to commit to any sort of meaningful rebuild or reload. Everyone's still waiting, I feel, for the Penguins to just throw everything away, throw the whole season away. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But that said, what would I like to see Dubas still do? I believe that he can still and will somehow still add to the left-handed defense group. I think there's a very good chance he'll stick with what he has on the right side, and that, of course, would be Karlsson, Chris Letang, Harrison Brunick if he were to break through. Jack St. Ivany is going to get another look. Connor Clifton's on that side. Matt Dumba is on that side. So they've added some physicality, some toughness. But the left side, and I'm saying this respectfully, has Ryan Graves, Owen Pickering, and there's just more needed there. He can do that. But once more, for emphasis, this is their team. He knows what he's got here. because neither he nor anybody else is doing a thing. History shows us that's not about to change between now and the month that remains before the first bucket of pucks gets dropped up in Cranberry. When we come back, J1Q. Finding great candidates to hire is hard. Too many resumes, not enough people with the skills or experience you need. But not with ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter finds amazing candidates for you fast. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. After you post your job, their smart matching technology starts showing you qualified people right away. Also, ZipRecruiter lets you connect with top candidates ASAP. You can use their pre-written invite to apply message to reach out to your favorites and encourage them to apply sooner. Ditch the other hiring sites and let ZipRecruiter find what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free at this exclusive web address. ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Today's J1Q, it comes from Rich. It's not a question, it's a response, one of many that I got to the Friday episode in which I broached a subject I hate broaching, which is Sid and Mario, meaning the comparisons between the two. I find everything about it to be so cringy that part of me actually wishes that Sid had played somewhere else so that he could have his own status that he would deserve, richly deserve, within that franchise where he'd never be compared to anybody. But Rich summed that up better than I just did. Rich says, "Man, I really dislike this particular debate. I enjoy having discussions with people who hold different viewpoints. You can learn a lot from that. But in this case, it feels like picking a side unfairly lumps the other person in with the rest of the lot, which just isn't true. For me, Mario will always be the guy. I understand the points-based arguments, but for me, this comparison goes well beyond stats. I have always believed that Mario was the greatest player of all time, and sure, that might be a bit biased, but that's okay. I also feel privileged to have watched Sid's entire career. There is no debate, at least in my eyes, about Sid's place in the Penguins' history. It's like reading the second chapter of an epic novel." Yeah, it's like that, Rich. JC responded, "Listen, both are great generational players. I've watched both of their entire careers. Mario was more than generational. He was the best. It will be a monumental achievement for Sid to pass Mario, truly." This one will wrap us up for the day. It comes from Matthew, and he says, "Unfortunately, with injuries suppressing Mario's career totals, absurd as they still are, there are people who did not get to see him play, who have no idea just how ridiculously good he was." I remember a few years ago talking with some guy in his early 20s, and the topic of the greatest goal scorer ever came up. And this dude didn't have Mario on his list. Flabbergasted, I asked how he didn't have Mario in there, and he said something along the lines of, "Well, Lemieux was a playmaker, not a goal scorer." No! I had to explain how that whole playmaker versus finisher thing, while typically valid, didn't apply to Mario. He was both. And this guy didn't have any axe to grind, as far as I could tell. He genuinely had no idea that Mario was just behind Mike Bossy in goals per games played and way ahead of everyone in goals per games played for anyone who had played around 1,000 games. And this just accentuates the point. I haven't even mentioned Sid yet. But this is just a weird instance where the disparity is that big. Sid might be top 5 all time and still not be Mario. That is nothing to be ashamed of or a reason to diminish anything that Sid's done. Lemieux was just born on Krypton or something. I love you guys. I just have to say this today. I loved everything that I got back from you guys. And I will say this. I will say this. For those of us who were blessed to have seen Mario, even if it was just in the second phase of his career, the comeback, fight for that case. I'm being totally serious here. You know what I'm saying. Fight for that case. I don't want to hear anybody twisting or distorting or diminishing or downplaying anything that 66 achieved in front of all of our eyes. We saw him be the best of everything. Somebody, one of the messages that I got over the weekend said that, well, Mario wasn't really a two-way player. Now, he wasn't when he didn't feel like it, okay? He wasn't when he was, let's say, conserving his energy. But I can find real live hockey executives to attest that when he was in the playoffs and when he was in the mode, he was the best defensive forward in the NHL, hands down, including, by the way, killing penalties. Appreciate you guys. Let's do it again tomorrow.